This right here is the largest weapon the world has ever seen. For comparison, this is the size of a tank, this is the size of a person, and this right here is the ammunition. The Nazis named the cannon Schwerer Gustav. 1,350 tons of steel, a barrel 32 meters in length, and a range of 47 kilometers. To set it up, you need 4,000 soldiers, and just to operate it, another 1,500. We have thoroughly investigated the archives to recount the history of this weapon. It was personally commissioned by Adolf Hitler. Unlike his other grandiose plans, this one was actually put into effect. The Schwerer Gustav was indeed deployed in battle. It was 1937. Adolf Hitler is deep in the preparations. For his upcoming war, the war that he was actively planning. A particular headache for him is the Maginot Line on the German-French border. It's a powerful defensive network with concrete and armored fortifications. To be able to break through it, he needs a brand new kind of weapon. So he commissions the Krupp Company in Essen to construct the largest cannon in the world. The delivery date is set for the spring of 1940. This project is under the highest level of secrecy. The plans must not fall into hostile hands. In internal documents, the codename Gustav device is utilized. Giving heavy weaponry cute names is a long-standing German tradition, such as the Karl Mortar or Big Bertha. Spring 1940. Hitler now wants to finally invade France, preferably with his new wonder weapon. Unfortunately, the Schwerer Gustav isn't ready yet. The Führer is furious. Finally, the Nazis decide to attack France through the difficult terrain of the Ardennes in Belgium. This way, the Maginot Line is simply bypassed. A year later, the monster cannon is finally built. It's a so-called railway gun, running on 2 parallel tracks. 1,350 tons, 40 axles on 80 wheels, almost 50 meters long, as tall as a 4-story building. The caliber measures 80 centimeters. The barrel measures 32 meters in length and weighs 400 tons alone. It has a range of 47 kilometers. The shells themselves weigh up to 7 tons. This here is a shell that can penetrate concrete walls up to 6 meters thick. Right, let's get back to that massive Nazi cannon now. Tests clearly demonstrate its unparalleled destructive power. The shots leave craters that are up to 32 meters deep. Several meters thick concrete walls stand no chance. But by the time this cannon is completed, France is already taken. Luckily, there's another front available. 1942. As part of Operation Barbarossa, the Nazis have already conquered large parts of the Soviet Union. But one location is still stubbornly defended: Sevastopol, the strongest fortress anywhere in the world. The city is defended by over 100,000 Russian soldiers. They're behind 5-meter thick concrete walls or in bunkers 30 meters deep. Hitler needs a success story urgently. The Schwerer Gustav could provide that breakthrough. To reach the front, the gun has to be disassembled into parts. On 5 trains with over 100 wagons, the weapon winds through Poland. At the front, however, a suitable launch site first needs to be found. The right position is scouted by plane. It has to be far enough away to avoid being hit by enemy cannons. Finally, they agree on a spot 25 kilometers before Sevastopol. For the setup, a railway track 1,200 meters long must be laid here. The so-called firing curve is absolutely crucial. The cannon cannot turn itself sideways. If it wants to aim at a new target, it has to be moved back and forth on the firing curve by 2 diesel locomotives. At the same time, the superweapon must stay hidden at all costs. So soldiers build artificial hills with cuts to camouflage the weapon. But Schwerer Gustav must also stay hidden from the air. A 500-man strong unit of the so-called smoke troops is responsible for that. They can, on command, smoke screen the area. Over 5,000 soldiers are needed for track construction, assembly, maintenance, guarding, camouflage, smoke screening, and operation. a massive effort for one weapon. Accordingly, Nazi propaganda promotes the gun as a truly unique military achievement.
And this here is the new heavy German artillery piece. Elevators in the entire rail systems transport the massive artillery shells to the barrel. Even the very last remaining fortifications of Sevastopol will not be able to withstand this concentrated barrage for a prolonged period.
After 3 days, the Schwerer Gustav is finally ready to fire. This is Fort Stalin. Soviet soldiers have been under constant bombardment here for days, but they hold out behind meter-thick concrete walls. At precisely 4:30 in the afternoon, they hear an enormous bang in the distance. They don't realize that at this precise moment, they are the target of the world's largest cannon, which has just unleashed a 7-ton armor-piercing shell upon them, creating immense craters 30 meters deep. The incredibly massive concrete walls of the fort are absolutely no match for this weapon. But then, absolutely nothing occurs. The shell impacts a full 120 meters from their position. It takes the Germans nearly an hour to reload the massive gun. And then, yet another shot lands. 150 meters away, and then another one misses. And then another one. So, this is a list of all the shots from day one and how many meters they were off. The very next shot fired is officially recorded as a direct hit, but later search teams cannot confirm this. By the 4th day's end, only 5 armor-piercing shells remain. These remaining shells are fired on the 5th day of shooting without achieving a single hit on target, and then all the ammunition is completely gone. All in all, the cannon fired 48 shots. That's 360 tons of ammunition. Based on the shot list, only 3 actually hit the target, but even that is questionable. The only confirmed hit was an underground ammunition depot, and that was probably by chance. What began as a terrifying, fearsome superweapon turned out to be a completely useless monstrosity. Even before the Schwerer Gustav was used, there were doubts about its accuracy. Some Nazi military officials speculated that considering such a large caliber on one hand and such long ranges on the other, the accuracy would essentially be almost zero. But there was neither time nor resources for proper testing. Additionally, the barrel wore out after relatively few shots, rendering it unusable. Ultimately, Sevastopol did fall. Hitler's big gun basically contributed nothing. Most likely no one had the courage to tell him that in all honesty. Or perhaps he simply didn't want to accept it. We can't say for certain. Despite its economic and strategic pointlessness, the Schwerer Gustav was at least a prestige project. It was a symbol of the vision of an unbeatable German war machine. After its first and last deployment, the railway gun returned to its home, what was then Rügenwalde in western Pomerania. During a demonstration, a few last shots were fired. Hitler himself was present at this demonstration. When the Nazis lost the war, the Führer personally ordered the gun to be blown up, so the wonder weapon wouldn't fall into enemy hands. Perhaps that entire endeavor could have been avoided. Cheers. Oh, by the way, if you've wondered what it looks like to shoot Adolf Hitler 25 kilometers from a 30-meter cannon barrel over Crimea, we've got something for you.